Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. Today, we're talking about lessons from intermittent fasting. Are you ready? Let's get started. No worries. I am not turning this into a health show, and I'm not selling a supplement. But a number of months ago, I decided I wanted to get rid of my COVID-19. Well, it was more than 19 pounds. So I read about and studied about intermittent fasting, and then I lost about 30 pounds. Go back and watch an old episode. I look a little better. Let's talk about what intermittent fasting is, and then we'll get past the health part of the show. Intermittent fasting simply is, in very short order, deciding to only eat during a lesser part of the day. Now, doesn't mean you can't drink fluids as long as they don't have sugar or anything that might get your stomach working. So my model is basically I eat during 8 hours and don't eat for 16 hours. And just in case you're curious, I'm still doing it. And I don't do it every single day, but about 6 days a week, generally speaking, I'm doing intermittent fasting. But what I want to share with you today is my lessons about what I learned from intermittent fasting that go beyond food. So we're not really going to talk about food anymore, except as an example. Are you ready? So let's talk about it. First of all, lesson number one, too much of a good thing is probably too much. And that's what was happening for me. One of the things is I just ate. If I thought about it, I ate. If I was hungry, I ate, but I just ate, well, why not, right? Eating while watching TV or whatever. So food is good. Food's important. Got to have food. Too much of a good thing? Very possible. So I already, as we go into this, I just want you to be thinking about other things in your life where it's a good thing, but is there such a thing as too much of it? Very possibly. And so let's start there. Here's the next thing I learned, that timing matters. By eating in a shorter window, it makes my body more efficient. It allows my stomach to work the way apparently it was intended to actually work, even though we've been told 3 meals a day and all that stuff. So the reality is that timing matters, and timing matters to lots of things in our lives, not just eating. Third is blocks or windows make us more intentional. You know, for me, I think the most valuable part about intermittent fasting, outside of the physiology of it, is this. Is that a lot of times we just eat because we're not thinking about it. Or, yeah, I'll have some of that. But now I say, oh, it's after 7:30. I'm going to choose not to. It doesn't mean I never, or let me put it this way. It doesn't mean that I always turn down the ice cream at 8:15. But it means that I'm always intentional about, am I going to choose to do it or am I not? Now, when we get to the examples I'm going to share with you in just a second, I'm going to guess that every one of those, we could be more valued by being more intentional about our choices there. Now, the other thing about blocks or windows making us more intentional is if we would block some of our efforts into certain time periods, that makes us far more productive as well. That's a whole nother episode. But what are my examples about what we might want to intermittent fast on besides food? Number one, our phones. How often do we pick up our phones just because our phone is right there? What if we got more intentional about it? What if we said, we're not going to look at our phones after this time of day or before this time in the morning? That's intermittent fasting from our phones. Might that be a good thing for you? I'll leave it for you to decide. Next, email. Same thing. I'm talking to leaders and team members around the world, and they're saying, well, I'm on email all day long. I'm like, stop. You need to intermittent fast from email. As an organization, there are organizations that are saying, no email Thursdays or whatever. That's the organization saying, we're going to intermittent fast from email, which is a good thing until it's not. Next, meetings. Similarly, there are organizations that are saying we're not having meetings on certain days. I think in the future of hybrid work, we're going to have lots of organizations that make conscious, intentional choices about the days or the times we have meetings, or the days or times that we don't. Maybe we need to do some intermittent fasting on meetings, because how often do we just say, oh, we should meet on that and then schedule the meeting? It's sort of like saying, oh, I think I'll have some potato chips. Intentionality, intermittent fasting with your meetings. And then how about television? I don't know about you, but the more I watch TV, the more I watch TV. Like the commercials work. The reminders work. The next suggested show on Netflix works. Maybe I just need to stop watching for a day or a week. Or I'm going to be intentional about what hours of the day I watch. Or I'm going to watch one football game and not all day. It could be anything. I've given you 4 examples. All of them are good things, but too much of them isn't necessarily a good thing. Maybe we ought to block our time. Maybe we ought to be a little more intentional. Maybe we ought to intentionally, intermittently fast from any number of things. Anything that you might overdo on and maybe want to stop on, but you don't want to stop completely. You just want to be more intentional. That's intermittent fasting from whatever it might be. Let me close with today's tweet. We can fast from food or most anything else. How might you benefit from intermittent fasting from anything? Need some ideas? How about your phone, your TV, or your email? We can fast from anything, but we can also occasionally binge something too. How about if every day for 13 days, you got one email that helped you be a more effective leader? We call it 13 Days to Being a Remarkable Leader. And you'll get one email a day with one story on video and one tool to help you get better at one thing as a leader. It's all free. 13 Days to Remarkable Leadership. You can learn all about it right here. I hope you'll do that. And I hope you'll be back here next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.